and welcome to the Pekin First podcast. My name is Josh, and I get the absolute pleasure of serving as the online ministries director right here at Pekin First.
Hey there, Josh, and hey everyone. My name is Sean, and I get the pleasure of serving as the pastor here at Pekin First.
And it is such an exciting week here at Pekin First. We have so much going on.
Yeah.
The church is just full of activity.
Yep. I mean, if people could see in the studio right now, they would, the full studio, they would see it filled with chairs from our sanctuary because we emptied the sanctuary out so we could make room for all the kiddos for VBS. Yeah.
That's right. It is, I walked in here and I was like, wow, there's a lot of chairs in here.
Yeah.
So, we've got VBS going on this week. And then, so we've got tonight here at the church, and then they're going to
Dragonland tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
And my grandson's coming tonight. Super excited. Yeah.
All right.
But they're going to Dragonland tomorrow. And then Saturday, we've got the block party going on.
Yep.
And the weather's supposed to cooperate.
Right.
So it's supposed to be a little cooler, so it's not going to be so hot.
Right.
All kinds of cool things going on.
Oh, man, so much going on.
Yep. All right, this is the Pekin First podcast, like I did say. And like, share, or subscribe to this podcast and share it with your friends, like it, and just be a part of this podcast. Also, comment. This is live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Comment below. Let us know what you think. If you have a subject that you want talked about, we're happy to do that for sure. All right, this is episode 86, and this one came to me at the last second in a meeting yesterday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it is called Return on Joy.
All
right. We start each week, each podcast with this week's personal best. And Sean, I'm going to let you go first.
Well, I would just say my personal best this week has been Vacation Bible School. I love this time of year. I love participating in Vacation Bible School, and the children's ministers always I don't know if they're just trying to make me, feel good about letting me participate or what, but every year I get the opportunity to participate in one way, shape, or form, and I love doing the skit part. At the beginning of the evening, there's always kind of a skit that sets up the theme for the night, and so having a lot of fun this year playing Dr. Flutterby, the great butterfly expert who is out searching for the elusive rare butterfly in the rainforest. This is a theme of rainforest this year. Kids are learning all about all kinds of ways to see God in nature and in the world, and so been having a lot of fun with that. And I just love seeing the church full of children, love listening to the laughter, love listening to the voices of kids. There's nothing quite like it because it reminds you that there is a future, that God is doing some good things, and the church is a part of people's lives.
In the innocence of a child,
right?
For sure.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. You are a drama guy, an actor guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense that the beginning would excite you a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. My personal best this week is Saturday, and this is a very painful personal best, but Saturday evening, I think it was Saturday evening. Yeah, it was. All my kids showed up at the house, and all but Maddie. Maddie was on vacation with the grandkids, but all the girls showed up at the house with their boyfriends, and my 13-year-old was there as well. And we got on the volleyball. I set up the volleyball net in the backyard because we have a large backyard. Set up the volleyball net. We played volleyball, and we played. We played 6 games or five or 6 games.
Yeah.
And I now know what it feels like to be my age.
Yeah.
Because it hurt the next day.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt so much that day, but it hurt the next. Like, I think it still hurts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I would say follow up to my best was the fact that my son was in town last weekend too. And we played 27 holes of golf in 2 days. So we talk about feeling it after that too. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Loved being with him and doing that. But man, I certainly felt it afterwards. Yeah.
All right. This is episode 86. This is the Return to Joy. So I'm going to start with a quote of Warren Buffett. His famous advice is the best investment you can make in yourself. The best investment you can make is in yourself. Jesus would take that one step further. The best investment you can make is in God's kingdom because its return isn't just measured in eternity. It is experienced today through joy. So I found this. So I ran into this last night. I was in a meeting, and we're going through, everybody wants an ROI, right? I'm in property, I'm in real estate. One of the numbers we consistently look at is what's your ROI, what's your return on investment. And one of the guys in the room said, I'm not about the ROI, I'm about the ROJ.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in the room went, "What is that?"
Mm-hmm.
And he went, "It is return on joy." And in this particular meeting, it basically meant I want to do I'm in a position that I can do great things, and that's what I want to do. I want to do the things that bring people joy.
Right.
And in this case, we're talking about vacation rentals and stuff like that. Those things bring people joy. Providing low-income housing, that brings people joy. So that was where that came from. We spend our lives calculating the return on investment. If I put my money into savings, what's my return? We invest time in working, and I go back to 2 weeks ago, I believe, was I talked about what putting your time into a job that you get very little back. Well, how about we put our time into faith and into the church and into people versus things, and see what that return is like.
Yeah, I mean, joy is such a really interesting word, Josh. I mean, it's a biblical word, I mean, we use it a lot, like I'm enjoying this, or, there's some joy that I get out of that. And I think most of the time what we're talking about is happiness, and there's a difference between happiness and joy. And happiness depends on happenings. If things are happening well, then I'm happy. Joy doesn't depend on that. Joy is a fruit of the Spirit. It's something that we get because the Holy Spirit lives within us, and it's a contentment. It's a sense that we know that we're doing something that is pleasing to God, and that's what I always try to tell people is, don't look to try to be happy. Look to increase your joy in your life. And the way that joy comes most often is by pouring ourselves into something that's beyond ourselves. It's a service, a ministry. I'm just thinking, again, in terms of where we're at right now, these volunteers all week long who come out here and work with these kids, it might not be something that they're thinking, every night from 6 to 8, I want to go give my time to work with third graders. But at the end of the night, every adult is smiling and laughing, and they are full of joy because they know that they poured themselves out to help children to come to know Jesus a little bit more. And, it's going to be the same on Saturday at our block party. The volunteers are going to come out. Maybe they come out a little bit grudgingly on Saturday, like, man, I have some things I got to do today, or some things I'd like to do. But they get out there and they begin to pour into our community, into our neighbors, flipping burgers or handing out a hot dog or a hamburger to a family, or saying hello to a family that has just come by, and watching some kids slide down the bounce house slide, whatever the case may be. There's going to be great joy involved in everybody's life because they've given themselves to something that's greater than them.
And I know a couple of people that are putting all this together, and I just know that once it starts to go off, that sense of relief comes over you, and you see people having fun, and I'm a huge part of the Marigold Festival.
Right, I was going to say that.
Yeah, and just there's a time on Saturday afternoon at the Marigold Festival, and it'll be this way this Saturday, I'm sure, that I sit at the top of the parking lot, and I'm watching the parking taking place. I'm watching the people walking through the booths, and I can see the carnival. I can kind of overlook kind of everything that's going on.
Right.
And you see people reconnecting. You see people having a good time, and seeing that one thing that they want to buy that one person for Christmas, even though it's only September, right? But this is the time.
Right.
And, watching the water sports on the lagoon and just things like that. You watch the people having fun, and that is what brings me joy.
Absolutely.
That is, and that's what I'm 100% sure that's going to happen this Saturday. And that's a lot of our volunteers here at the church. That I've never seen a group of people until I started coming here that get so much joy out of serving people.
Right.
It's not giving people things, it's serving people.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
It's so countercultural too, because as you said at the beginning of this, the natural impulse for us as human beings is to figure out how we're going to bless ourselves through our investments? How are we going to gain more money or get a bigger house or a faster car or whatever the thing is that we think is going to make us happy? And the counterintuitive nature of this is what Jesus constantly does is says, this is what the world tells you. This is what I'm telling you. You know, and if you're going to really truly experience joy in this life, if you simply serve, the greatest in the kingdom is a servant of all, he said. You know, and I mean, it doesn't make sense because the world tells us, no, go after what you think you need to get, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, work hard, get what what you deserve. And God says, Jesus says, if you turn that around and give away and do for others, you're going to really, truly experience the life that's truly life.
Well, and this week I had kind of I had a difficult situation come up. Actually, it was the end of last week, beginning of this week, and I wanted to do something in the community, and I thought to myself, I really want to do this, and so I got my, I'll call my posse together, if you will, and had them all chip in a little bit on this thing that I wanted to do, as far as just recommendations and just things like that, and I didn't even get a shot at it. Like, I didn't even get a shot at it, and I felt gypped, right? I felt like I've given so much to the community that, and all I was asking for was this one thing. And I had to stop and go, is that really why you serve the community?
Right.
And it's not.
Right.
It's not. I'm learning God's plan, and it's a tough one, but I'm learning God's plan. And we invest in those things that are so temporary.
Right.
Like you said, a bigger paycheck, bigger house, more vacations, newer car, more followers on our social media, right? That's a big one these days.
Right.
And busier schedules. And that's where we need to look at it and go, God's economy is so different than the world's economy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good way of thinking about it. Kingdom economy. You know, I had a mentor early on in ministry that used to talk about the fact that that we see the world oftentimes through a lens of scarcity. Like, there's just not enough. There's not enough money. There's not enough time. There's not enough whatever. In the kingdom of God, God's economy is a kingdom of abundance. You know, that there's a constant abundance there. That when you see the stories of Jesus multiplying turning the water into wine, or multiplying the loaves and the fishes, that's a picture or a model of God's economy, which is a constant economy of abundance. And if we can live that way, trusting that there's always going to be enough, it's going to make a big difference in the way we live our lives. Because if you live your life with a life of scarcity, all you can do is try to get more and more and more. If you live with a mentality that says, in the kingdom of God, the economy of God is abundance, there's plenty to go around, I'm going to live that way, it changes your whole thinking.
100%. And that's kind of where, I was a couple weeks ago, we kind of talked about, I'm reading this, or I'm listening to this book while I work out, and it talks about fear, and it's a financial fear thing. Right. This book is about financial fear, and it's 100%. We fear the financial failure. We fear not having enough money. We fear not having enough food. We fear not being able to have that nice car, that big house. And if we invest in Jesus, and we invest in, just like we were talking about, the people giving back here at the church, we invest in people as we are showing that this week. The reward is that joy. It's the return. It's not the ROI. It's the ROJ.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you kind of twisted that terminology around. I think that makes a ton of sense, and I hope it does to our listeners as well, because that really is a really deeply important point in how we think about what we're getting back in terms of what we think we deserve, and in terms of what we really are longing for. What's our soul longing for? It's longing for joy. It's not looking for that temporary happiness that's going to be found in some of those other things. Now, there's nothing wrong with being happy. There's nothing wrong with enjoying time with family and vacations and those kind of things. This is a time of year where people are enjoying those things, and I hope they are enjoying them. But ultimately, the grand scheme of things, that vacation is going to come to an end. And when it comes to an end, you're back into the grind of the daily again. And, if you're like me, when I get back on vacation, I need a vacation from vacation.
Absolutely.
Because, it never seems to really be as relaxing as I think it's going to be. But, if you're looking for that life that Jesus talks about, I have come that they might have life and have it abundantly. It is going to be a life that's filled with joy and service, giving our lives away for the sake of the kingdom.
In Matthew 6, store up treasures in heaven, because God measures returns differently, right?
Yeah.
Differently, right?
Yeah.
Instead of wealth, fame, and status, he values faithfulness, love, peace, and
joy.
Joy.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Right. Joy is the dividend. This book that I'm listening to talks about stocks with dividend, and joy is the dividend that God gives us for serving people, for living the life of His way.
Yeah.
Right. Living with our heart given to Him.
Right.
And that's when we invest in prayer and worship and serving and generosity and relationship and God's kingdom. You talked about going on vacation. Sometimes that vacation doesn't have to be that trip to Hawaii or England or whatever.
Yeah.
Some of the best trips that my family went on were 3 hours away,
Right.
To St. Louis.
Right.
I took the girls, me and Zena took the girls, all the girls. We all went to, not all the girls because Maddie was getting married, but we took the younger girls and we went to St. Louis.
Yeah.
We were 2.5 hours away, and we had that was one of the best trips that comes up in my memories all the time, because there were so many pictures taken, and we had so much fun, and we had all been there 1,000 times, but we were together, and that's what it's all about.
I had a memory come up just the other day, the same kind of thing. I don't know, 10 years ago or so, and you know this. I lived in Florida for most of my life. We lived near the beach in Florida, and we had made these big plans to go. I don't remember where we were going to go. It was a big plans to leave the state, to go somewhere exciting, and things fell apart. And I was so disappointed. And we ended up staying at home and going to the beach, And I posted afterwards. I'm like, people pay big money to come to Florida and spend a vacation in Florida. I live here. And I'm taking it for granted. And we had a great vacation just staying there by the beach with the kids, and one of the best ones, like you said. Sometimes it's the simplest things.
Absolutely. Just we this last Saturday when I talked about my personal best, that was a ton of fun. It was 100% unplanned. Right. The kids just kind of, hey, we're coming over.
Right.
Okay, great. And we threw some hot dogs on the grill. Zena threw some hot dogs on the grill. And that was the end of it, right?
Yeah.
We played some volleyball, had some fun. The return isn't always financial, and it's hard in this world that you have to keep up with the Joneses, if you will, or you think you have to keep up with the Joneses, that you're looking for that financial return.
Right.
And what I'm learning through my real estate world is sometimes you don't look at the ROI, you look at the ROJ, and that's where that came from. You got to look at, does the business still bring you joy? And that's where we were at. Does the business still bring you joy? And doing and investing in that stuff, you know what I mean, to bring people happiness, and it's serving people, and serving people is what brings us joy.
That's precisely it. It's the people part. And that's the thing I think that we miss so often, is that this weekend, and I'm going to do a pitch real quick for my new sermon series that I'm starting this weekend. Yeah. So if you're listening and you're looking for a church, this is a good weekend to start, because I'm going to start a brand new sermon series that's going to take us through the rest of the summer. And it's a 7-week series on a book called An Altar in the World. And I'm going to be talking about just simple ways that we can find God and see God in the real world. I'm calling them ordinary practices. Instead of focusing on the traditional spiritual disciplines of prayer and fasting and Bible reading and serving. Those are all great. And I'm not suggesting we don't do those, but I'm suggesting that there's also ways in the everyday life, the ordinary days of our lives, we can connect with God and find God. And so many of them, almost all of them, in fact, have something to do with how we connect with people. And this weekend, the very first practice we're going to talk about is the practice of encountering others, and that is such a great way to see God. You want to find God? Look in the eyes of a stranger. Look in the eyes of somebody. The girl who's bringing you up at the gas station or the grocery store. The people that we tend to pass by on a regular basis without really looking at them. We take some time to really just focus and look at them and not be caught up in the busyness of our world. I guarantee you, you're going to find some moments of divine connection there that you didn't expect, because God is found in other people.
Absolutely. And you say the sermon series is about encountering God on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we try to center. I feel we try to center our ministry around is this is not, we're not, how does it fit today? Right. Especially this podcast.
Right.
How does faith fit today? And so this week I started doing my truck talks again.
Right.
Because when I'm driving, that's where I encounter God the most.
Right.
So I wanted to, I want to bring that to other people, because I'm not the only person, right? I'm not the only person that thinks these things or thinks this way or asks these questions.
Right.
So I kind of took my Monday update away because it was very, very early, and I was struggling to get it done, and turned it into a truck talk. And I feel that that's the way God encounters me on a daily basis. And I'm looking forward to this sermon series for sure.
Yeah, me too.
And don't forget, just was one last scripture kind of snapshot is John 15, remain in me, and then your joy will be complete.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Great.
All right. I think that's all we have for today. We got to get Sean out of here. He's got to go be who'd you say you're?
Dr. Flit Flutterby.
Yeah.
The great butterfly expert. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So he's going to go catch some butterflies, apparently, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a surprise. We'll see how it all turns out. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. It's not going to be a butterfly tonight. He's going to have some fun with a different creature this evening, I think. So, yeah.
Awesome. Little suspense in VBS.
Right.
All right. And don't forget to join us Saturday. Is it from 11 to 2?
11 to 2. Yep.
11 to 2, right here in the parking lot. Got
free food,
free
entertainment, bounce houses for the kids, games, prizes, giving away a couple of bicycles. I mean, it's going to be great. It's all free. Come on down.
Yep. Come on down. All right. I believe that's all the time we have for today. Remember, God put us here to do great things. So let's go do great things.